I just watched the brand new Five Nights at Freddy's movie and I want to talk about it because that's exactly what you need. Another person on the internet talking about that movie. But what makes my opinion special? Well, I said it and I'm extremely awesome. Now, let me just give you a speedrun version of it. Is the Five Nights at Freddy movie good? The answer to that question is no. I think the movie is actually pretty bad, and I am going to tell you why. Before I get into the bad, let me actually talk about the few positives about this movie. And the first thing that I want to bring up is the set design. I know this is something that everyone has talked about, but there's a reason why. The animatronics look absolutely amazing, and every time when they have like the lights show on them, or they're just on screen in general, I'm just always shocked how good they look. Especially Foxy, and my opinion, I think he's the best looking one out of the main four, and all of the little cameos that they have of other animatronics that aren't really in the movie, but they have like little Easter eggs, they all look really good. Out of all the designs, there's only one animatronic which I think looks really bad, but I'm gonna bring him up a little bit later. And another thing that I like about the movie is just how much Easter eggs they have and how much lines that they have in game that they end up putting inside of the movie. And yes, you know this is something extremely bad when one of the positives of the movie is just little Easter eggs that chronically online people like me can notice. And they have little cameos from some YouTubers, like MatPat is in it, Corey's in it, and that is just something extremely cool, and it puts a smile on my face when you get to see like a YouTuber that you remember watching playing Five Nights at Freddy's in the movie. That is something extremely cool. And one thing that is really good about this movie, and something that absolutely no one saw coming, is the main character. Now, I'm extremely bad at just celebrities in general, so I have absolutely no idea who the actor is who played him, but whoever he is, he did an absolutely amazing job, and the main character is easily one of the best parts about the movie. And that's something extremely shocking, because I'm pretty sure we all expected him to just be your stereotypical horror protagonist where he just makes really bad decisions and he's just extremely dumb and he does really weird things to move the plot forward, but the writers has did a really good job to make the main character's story extremely compelling and give him a good reason to keep on coming back to the pizzeria. And I think he's easily one of the best parts about the movie, and the acting in general is really good. Now, although I think the characters in this movie are absolutely terrible, except the main character, I don't really think it's the actor's fault. I think all of them has did the best with what they were given, because although their characters are extremely flat, I can tell that every single actor was just trying their hardest. And I think that is something extremely good, and that is kind of all of the positives. Okay, everything else is just a big negative. Now, I am going to go into a little bit of spoilers, but it's not going to be anything big. But I know there are some people who are extremely sensitive about spoilers, so I just want to give you a little warning before I go in. I think the story is not really that good at all. Except the main character, his storyline is really good. Everything else around him isn't. And one thing that I think is handled extremely badly is the main villain himself, the purple guy, William Afton. Insert clip of Markiplier saying, "the purple guy." He is the main antagonist of the movie, and I think he is really bad. And that is something that is really surprising to me, because one thing that a lot of people who were able to watch this movie early said is that, oh, William Afton was actually pretty good. And when he came out to be Springtrap, he did a really good job. I think that is wrong. His dialogue is extremely cringe. They really turned him into this stereotypical evil slasher villain, and it is just pretty bad. And plus, the way that he was defeated was also really dumb. It made absolutely no sense, and it just came out of nowhere. And that is another thing that's really bad about this movie, is the pacing. I don't know how this is possible, but this movie is somehow too long and too short at the same time. Because I remember when all the rumors were coming out about this movie, a lot of people were saying that, oh, this movie was going to be 3 hours long. And that was something that I was really scared to hear because I'm like, oh my, I can't imagine how they're gonna find a way to stretch out this movie to be 3 hours. But man, I kinda wish those rumors were true because this movie is just way too short. The movie has a pretty good beginning to build the main character, then the middle section of the movie, absolutely nothing happens in it, and you just get some very generic reveals that you can literally see from a mile away, and then the movie just speedruns its way to the ending. So somehow this movie, it has well pacing at the beginning, then the middle of the movie felt like it takes 5 hours to end, and then the movie is just over when it comes to the climax. Hello, it's me from the future, and let me add this in because I forgot to bring it up somehow. And that is that this movie is not scary at all. And something that I did not see coming at all is that this is a Five Nights at Freddy's movie that has 0 jump scares. Out of the whole movie, I think there's only 2, and it's literally the same thing over and over again. Like they did it the first time, and they went like, wow, we like that so much, let's just do the same thing again, with the same sound effects and the same camera angles. Which is actually something that's very surprising, because one thing that made Five Nights at Freddy's extremely scary was actually the jump scares. It was one of the few horror games that actually did them pretty well, especially back then when the brand new formula of you staying in one area and checking the cameras was actually something pretty new. So I'm shocked that the movie didn't try to do that at all, because I'm pretty sure the people who made it could have found a way to actually add in some pretty good jump scares, but they just didn't do that. Now, this is something that's extremely weird. Although the animatronics look good, everything else about the movie doesn't at all. Now, this is a big spoiler right here. At the end of the movie, they have like a little fight where the main character goes to the pizzeria and he's trying to save his little sister, so he has to go and fight some of the animatronics. And my lord, it looks absolutely terrible. If that absolutely horrible Nicolas Cage movie where he is walking around to find the animatronics, if that movie looks better and did a human to find an animatronic better than the Five Nights at Freddy movie, you know you messed up. Because one of the scenes that I will just always remember is that the main character was in a little fight with Springtrap, and Springtrap pushed him and he flew. And it looked so cheap and so artificial. Like, I'm pretty sure you can actually see the string pulling the main character. It looks really bad, and you can tell that this movie had a pretty small budget, or even if it didn't, they did not spend the money well at all, because the movie just don't look good, especially at the ending. But either way, I'm pretty sure I got everything that I wanted to say. The Five Nights at Freddy movie is not good. Don't watch it. If I had to rate it 1 out of 10, I will give it a good old 4. This movie is a 4 out of 10. It is not good. The only time I recommend for you to watch this movie is if you are a hardcore Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Then I think you should go and check out the movie. This is something that I also want to bring up, but for some weird reason, when this movie first came out and people were watching it on the opening release, for some weird reason a fight ended up breaking out, which is something that just makes no sense to me. I don't know what happened in that theater that caused people just to get up and just start throwing hands. And the fight was actually pretty intense. Like, literally in the video, you have one man who's straight up becoming star platinum as he's just pounding one person, and I have absolutely no clue what happened. I have been desperately searching for backstory just so I can see what caused these people to start fighting. The only thing I was able to find is literally people on Twitter who's just making up fan fictions. But that's just something that I want to bring up, and I'm positive that if you have been on Twitter, you have seen the fight. People are calling it the fight of 87, which is something that is really funny. Anyway, this is just something that I want to talk about. This is my absolutely terrible review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. My name is Lua. You have a good day or night. See ya.